how do you quickly articulate a 30-second speech? Now, short speeches like that can be challenging because many times we are put on the spot and are expected to speak up in a structured manner, but we end up making one of these three mistakes. And I would make these mistakes whether I was prepared or not prepared. Mistake number one, rambling without any direction. Because we have lesser time, we tend to cram a lot of information up. We don't know what to prioritize and hence tend to ramble on into unnecessary details. Number two, lack of personalization. Because we are put on the spot, we are not able to contextualize our words to the situation that we're in, which ends up in us sounding very generic, missing any sort of authenticity or relatability. And number three is poor time awareness. Because it's a 30-second speech, we're also expected to take up lesser time. And the worst thing is if we go on and on and on and don't stick to a time limit, even if it's not formally put in front of us. Now, because I faced all three of these challenges, I had to learn certain frameworks for different situations so that I was able to not ramble, be much more to the point, add some form of personalization wherever I can to build context, and finally to not ramble on and go beyond my welcomed time. So instead of having an entire agenda for this video, I'm just going to use three situations where a 30-second impromptu speech is very likely to happen and give you one framework per situation that you can easily start putting into practice. The three situations we're going to use are number one, how to articulate your own introduction of 30 seconds, how to deliver an update in a stand-up or sprint meeting, and number three, how do you tackle speech competitions? And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Rideep from Frantically Speaking. We release communications content regularly. So if you're into that, hit subscribe. And if you want to take your communications learning to the next level, you can click the link in the description to check out our courses and see if we can work together. Let's get into it. So the first one we're going to get into is the self-introduction. Let's say you're, for example, at a networking event. Keep in mind, this example works specifically for professional introductions. If you're a new member in a team and have to introduce yourself, you're meeting somebody professionally, or in this example, if you're at a networking event and you're asked to introduce yourself to the rest of the people, the bad way to do it would be to sound like this. Hey, my name is Rideep. I'm a software engineer, and I've been working with this company for the past 15 years, and yeah, I'm very excited to be here. The sad thing is when we're put on the spot, we end up speaking like this a lot more than we realize. Instead, you can use a framework called PPP. It stands for Professional, Personal, and Purpose. It simply means you start with your professional background, you move on to one line of personality, and finally talk about the purpose of you being here. The purpose is important because it helps to also personalize your introduction depending on the situation that you are in. Here's what an example sounds like. Hey, my name is Rideep. I work as a front-end developer at XYZ company. Been working there for the past 15 years, and I mainly specialize on user experience for our CRM interface. In my spare time, I generally like to go for hikes or just spend a nice lazy weekend with my family. And I'm here today because I want to meet like-minded professionals who are also focusing on user experience to exchange notes and elevate each other's insights. So that's the first one, PPP. But what if you don't have to introduce yourself? You have to talk in a meeting, everybody knows you, and you have to provide an update on a project. Now, to understand how to give a short update is very useful, especially when you talk to upper management who don't really care about the details, they just want an overview. And it's important there to not go over time, not to ramble, and most importantly, to provide structured information. My favorite framework over here is called YTT. It stands for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So if you're asked for an update on a project, don't say they're focusing on this particular problem, but we're having some issues developing it, so we're not able to really move forward with it. Instead, YTT can help you structure this a lot better. You can say, yesterday, the team and I wrapped up the login module refactor and ran some quality checks as well. And today, we'll be integrating it with the dashboard APIs. And tomorrow, we shall get the final specs from the design team to put the entire project together. So that's it, YTT, very short. And the good thing is, if you have more time to expand on this, each of the elements yesterday, today, and tomorrow are all expandable. So if, for example, you know that the person asking you for the update is trying to understand a little more about what happened today, you can just expand on the middle T. And finally, if you are part of a speech contest or you have to just speak for 30 seconds on the spot, or you're part of Toastmasters, you can use this framework. It's superbly applicable in multiple situations, and it also helps you incorporate storytelling. It's called GPS. Stands for Goal, Problem, and Solution, and it's one of my favorite frameworks to apply. So let's say if you are made to speak on a topic, let's say the topic is failure, here's how we can use GPS. You start with the goal, you move on to a problem, and then the solution to conclude it. It could sound like this. To develop myself professionally as well as personally, I've been trying to change the way of how I approach failure. One of the biggest mistakes I made at work was to miss an important deadline for one of our biggest clients, which almost got me fired in the process. But from that, I learned that if something is so crucial, I need to over communicate timelines to ensure that nothing can get missed. And that allowed me to look at failure a little more positively, not as failure itself, but as a disguise for critical feedback. So that's a quick short speech. Now, again, like YTT, each of these elements are expandable. Generally, if you want to bring out a good story and you have more time, focus more on the P, the problem, because that makes the solution look all the more sweeter. And finally, if you want more frameworks like this, we've created an entire video of 5 different mental models that you can apply in different situations, regardless of time limit. You can check out that whole video right here.